See you later, Marilyn. Everyone loves the silver bike. Sorry about the shaky camera. Can't do anything about it. I built the Sequoia, and at least one of you, or a few people have kind of asked, what's the difference between that bike and a few of the other ones in the lineup? I think today is a pretty good day to actually spend some time and really look at those different bikes. Going through all of the geometry charts for the A-Wall, the Sequoia, and the Diverged. I like to look at geometry charts because it'll tell me what I think the bike would be good for based on my knowledge of bicycle geometry. For this vlog, I've got the A-Wall, the Diverge, and the Sequoia all kind of piled up here. Mostly just because I kind of wanted them to at least be in the vlog. Now I want to add that I'm not paid by Specialized to do this video whatsoever. These are my opinions. Take them as you will. Fair? Alright, let's get into it. So I'm going to start with the Diverge. The Diverge is probably the least capable bike in the Specialized adventure lineup. It would be like the #1 thing that you'd go to from a traditional road bike. Because in the geometry, it's actually not super far off from a traditional road bike. Probably the biggest differences is the fact that it has a slightly more slack head tube angle with a little bit more trail so that it's a little bit more stable. It has a bit taller of a head tube and the wheelbase is longer. The really big difference between the Diverge and your typical like road bike is the fact that it can fit a much bigger tire than most road bikes in the market. In my opinion, the Diverge is just a really nice endurance road bike that you can fit a bit bigger of a tire into. It's the perfect bike to do a ton of road riding on, but be able to go out and ride on much harsher roads than you could with maybe a bike with just 28mm tires. Now that's not to say that people like me and probably you are going to do something really stupid with it, like take it mountain biking, but that's not really the idea. It's a road bike that you can take riding for a really long time and stay really comfortable. The next in the Specialized adventure lineup would be the Sequoia. It's probably my favorite bike in the lineup because it's slightly more sporty looking. It has that big beefy carbon fork and small tube. In my opinion, that's kind of BMX-y. I really like the look of it. This bike gets a little bit more intense versus the Diverge. The head tube on it is slightly shorter than, it's got clearance for just absolutely massive tires. It has a slightly longer wheelbase, so it should be a little bit more stable over all of the mixed terrains that you would take it out on. The bottom bracket isn't as low as what Specialized says it is on their website. It's right around a 65mm bottom bracket drop. That's actually crit bike territory. I don't really know where they're coming from by saying that it has a low bottom bracket. It's got mounts everywhere so that you can really load it up and some really long touring with, but it's not super far into the world of touring bike geometry so that you could ride it completely unloaded and deal with it as a road bike as well. You could take on to single track trails because of the tire clearance, the high bottom bracket, and a stable front end that puts the wheel out slightly farther. Basically what it's trying to do is split the difference between a touring bike and like an adventure road bike. It's just that next step in between with some minor differences here and there. And then to finish off the three, at the top of the adventure range is the A-Wall. The A-Wall has an incredibly tall 185mm head tube with a short stem, and with that it sort of does achieve the same sort of reach but a much larger stack than the other two bikes in the adventure lineup. So what that does is puts you in a really comfortable and upright position. The wheelbase on the A-Wall is the longest of the three, which is good because that means it's also going to make it quite a bit more stable. All this room for way, way bigger tires. Yeah, I believe that you can fit a 29er 2.1 in there, which is sweet. And this bike also has mounts everywhere so that you can also put a full touring kit on it. That short stem also makes the steering a little bit more responsive, and the trail that this bike has is very similar to the Sequoia, and what it will do is actually offer quite a bit of stability when this bike's fully loaded. The idea is that it's a really long endurance gravel tour that's going to put you in a really comfortable position. So probably what you're going to end up doing on something like the A-Wall is slower days, longer days, and a lot of days in a row. Or you're going to commute. So let's recap. The Diverge is basically a super capable road bike that you can take on a lot of different roads and not have any trouble with room up to 35 mil tires. The Sequoia is a in-between touring and road bike. So you can do a ton of miles on it, take it off-road, put huge tires on it, put smaller tires on it. It's basically a steel, do every single thing bike. Not to mention they designed it to look gorgeous. And I'm not paid by them to say that. I literally just really love the look of this bike. The A-Wall is just a badass, new school, dirt, gravel, like regular touring bike, whatever you want to call it. It's probably going to be the most capable of all of them. So if you're looking for someone to tell you which one you should buy, I can't tell you. I can't make that decision for you because I can't make it myself.